it's early if he sustains it for the year.
Well, and especially where this is a team, it seems right now that the issue isn't on the defensive end nearly as much as it is on the offensive end. Trying to figure out where they're going to get the points, I think, is a bigger concern. Defense, I feel like, is going to fall into place. It seems like that, other than the kind of massive brain farts, I suppose, that we've seen from guys like Semi Ojeleye and in the game against Milwaukee, where almost on 3 straight trips he just kind of lost somebody, and it was a purely an inexperience issue. I think those issues are the ones that seem to be, they happen, but it's not what hasn't been fatal for them. Offensively, I think it's been where the problem has been, and that's why I think you're seeing Terry Rozier take a lighter step into that next role of really being the team's 6th man. He's been the guy, the scoring guy off the bench, and without with moving Tatum into the starting lineup and having Brown into the starting lineup, where is the scoring going to come from in that second unit? You have to look at a guy, Terry Rozier, to really help to try to keep things going. And, everyone
Plus, he's a rebounder, and this is a need for the team, especially at that guard position. We used to see, Rondo actually was a pretty decent rebounder at the guard position. They're going to need that, especially with all of these rotations, et cetera. And we're going to table the next comment I'm going to make about your point about the offense. But even you look at somebody like Tatum for a rookie, they didn't have a shot blocker last year. So now they've got rebounding from the guard position and shot blocking from small forward / power forward position. I guess we're probably going to see Tatum play more power forward, similar to the way that they utilize Brown. And I don't know if that's because it's a simpler role to play defensively for this team in terms of assignments and rotations. I don't really know, but it seems like they like to take players in that rookie year that are long and play him at the 4. Maybe Tatum's 4 forever, never a 3, and that's certainly a possibility too in today's game. But he has been a shot blocker, so 2 major issues from last year: rebounding and shot blocking. 2 young players helping fill that void somewhat.
And Tatum, I think that's true. I think Tatum has actually done a pretty good job defensively. I've been impressed with what he's provided on that end. There was no hesitation really in putting Tatum on Giannis the other night. I mean, that was, I thought, pretty crazy to see that. But, they played off of him, put his hands up, tried to use his length to kind of bother passing lanes, which is really what you have to do with Giannis. There was really only one instance, I thought, where Giannis got the better of him, where Giannis was in the full court and kind of got him turned sideways and drew a foul on him. But other than that, I thought Tatum did a fine job. He's done well enough to kind of solidify his spot and earning of a spot in the starting lineup. I'm not sure offensively in terms of movement and some of those innate things that you need to learn as part of a professional offense, but I think he's done a great job in kind of fitting in.
He just needs more people shoot more aggressively.
Absolutely.
He needs to be more aggressive, and I know Brad said, stop passing up shots. We want you to take more shots, and I agree with that. If you're talking about somebody who has the natural ability to go out and fill some of that void offensively, maybe it's not how he runs in the offense. He's kind of really still more of an isolation scorer. He doesn't really pass a ton once he's in position to shoot, but I'm okay with that. He is doing exactly what I said was the reason I was drawn to him last January. I said his length and his ability to get a shot off was not just something that was going to play out in college. It was something that I felt certain would work against NBA players, and we have found that is the case. Yes, he's been blocked at the rim, but as far as that mid-range to out beyond the arc, it is exactly what I thought it was. He should shoot more. When he can just elevate straight up, and I'm not talking about layups, I think he's going to run into trouble around the rim still, especially because of size too, positioning and creating space to get it off. But if he can get into a set shot with that high release, and they even sag off of him a little bit, I think he's got a really good shot at filling that void scoring-wise, especially on the second unit. There's no reason that he and Terry can't be the guys out there anchoring the scoring load, and maybe you've got to look to Larkin to provide that ball handling duty if Marcus Smart's going to see more time as the first sub off the bench.
I think the more I see it, actually, I think I like the idea of having Tatum in that starting lineup. And the same reason I like having Brown there. it's that, they're allowed to kind of play off of the others, and they're not put into a position where they have to be foisted upon a higher position in the pecking order. I think that's why we see a lot of like bench guards that do well, kind of the Lou Williams type, where, look, I'm a veteran. I know what I need to do. I got to score buckets and just get out of my way. It's very easy to do that and do that singularly. Whereas these guys, we're trying to get them to grow in their roles. And it's a lot easier, I think, for Brad perhaps to say, look, Terry, or I should say rather Tatum, Brown, do as well as you can and fill in your role. You need to play offense. You need to be able to be a shooter, to create opportunities when they're given to you off of the stars. And then defensively, you need to be a solid player. You need to be part of the solution. I think it's a lot easier, perhaps, to kind of create those great players by putting them in winning situations with winning players, as opposed to maybe using them in the second unit with players less experienced, less prepared, less ability to draw defenses and create opportunities for them. So I think that's probably why he's stuck with it. I hope he does stick with it, because I think using a guy like Marquise Morris in that second unit, maybe it does create a little bit more space for guys like Terry and others. So you kind of have that veteran savvy that you need in that group, because they're really struggling with that second unit, and it'd be great to have more of that.
I still agree with you.
Help.
Yeah, I still agree with you that Tatum should be in the starting lineup. I just think he subs out quick and comes back in and provides some offensive punch, especially because when you're making the transition, there's no reason Terry can't come in and be that initial sub in, where Tatum comes out and then they rotate maybe Brown up in the line a little bit. So I definitely still agree with you. I like Brown and Tatum in the starting lineup, but I don't see why Tatum can't still provide a decent amount of minutes and scoring out there with that second unit versus a Kyrie Irving. I think Kyrie takes the front end of that transition. He stays out there the longest, takes most of that middle of the second quarter minutes, early to mid second quarter minutes, and then comes in to finish. And I think Tatum goes out earlier and comes back a little bit earlier, maybe towards the end of the first quarter, very beginning of the second quarter, and plays the entire second quarter. I mean, again, it's always staggered. It's not a wholesale subs. Right. So I can definitely see Tatum still playing a decent amount of time in that second unit. And again, in that same manner with the veterans, just the bench veterans. So what you just mentioned, Baines, Morris, right? And then maybe even a Marcus Smart, who I would still consider to be a veteran, even if offensively we're still waiting on him. But that group, not all that dissimilar from the starting lineup that way.
Well, I think, I think the issue right now is he's got to find out who he is as an NBA player. I think he's got to answer that question before he's ready to say, okay, jump on my back, boys. I'm going to carry you offensively. And I think that's what he would have to do if he's that guy, that scorer in the second unit, kind of coming off first and then really coming back in with that second unit. As you said, at the end of the first quarter. That's the issue.
Would you roll with Brown that way then instead, and just say slow the game down, attack the rim? And if he gets foul trouble, you just change the game plan?
Absolutely. I have more confidence in JAYLEN in that role right now, just because he's done it and he knows what to do. Ask me again in a month. He
has more confidence in his role, period.
No question.
I mean, seriously, the leap. He took the third-year leap in the second year. I mean, he really did. Just what is he doing out there right now?
Yeah. I would almost love to see him do. That's what I'm saying. I'd almost love to see him kind of in that space, because I think JAYLEN, he welcomes it. He wants that, And I'm not saying Tatum doesn't. I think Tatum, he has the right.
He's still finding his way. He just
totally
new.
Yeah. I think we foist that upon Brown and say, Brown, hey, go to it, man. Go. Here it is. You're playing with Smart. You're playing with Rozier. Do your thing and do what you got to do.
What a difference a year makes.
It really is. I know. A year ago, we're like, well, is he? No. We still got Sammy G.
A year ago, you were like, not me, you. Sir, Larry.